This is what they do. They implement a law in one state, and then that the governments in other states think that that's justification to bring that into your state. So we already saw in the news the other week about mandatory gun limits put on all Australians. That's what the anti-gun group is pushing for. And that came out of WA, and that's why I've launched my legal action. And that is one of the things we will be looking at, the arbitrary limits on the number of private property that lawful firearm owners who have passed the fit and proper person test, of which have been expanded in WA, including the health checks, which Catherine, I still have to put up for you so you can look at this form. My dad nearly fell over when he read it. So this is what they do. They implement it in one jurisdiction, copy and paste it into another. The bow hunting ban here in South Oz, where I am, they've been talking about doing that in Victoria too. This is what they do. They will just keep banning, over-regulating to the point where no Australian anywhere in our beautiful country can continue to participate in our traditions of hunting, our sportsmanship of shooting. We're the best shooters in the world at the Olympics and Paralympics. Even the Americans said that. They said they don't understand how it's such a part of your culture and you're so talented at it, why then you haven't had any issues, why it's so restricted. And this is what governments do. This is their agenda. And it's so clear in WA that that is their agenda. And they've publicly said that at the start of all of this back in 2022. Their goal was to reduce the number of legally held firearms in the community. That was a statement from our government. Is that what the people want? At what point did the public stand up and say, we have a problem with people owning too many guns? The problem has never been people own too many guns, because that's not a problem. The problem is when criminals get a hold of guns, which usually come from the black market, imported overseas. Our borders, customs, I think I remember reading a report, can only check 10% of the things that come into Australia, the shipping containers. So New Zealand has the same problem too. We're islands. This is a problem we face. The black market guns. People in the community have a problem with criminals using guns, not the person who goes to the range on Sunday, not the person who goes out hunting food for the table, not the person who helps the farmer with pest control because he's got 1,000 other things to do on a farm. I grew up in a farming family, so I know sometimes going out spotlighting is the last thing that farmers want to do at the end of a long day when you've been up since bloody 4 o'clock. People in the community never asked for a reduction in the number of lawfully held firearms. And if they did, I would love to see the focus groups where that came out. I think the focus groups was Labor's ideology and then pushing it on the people. And that's what I have a problem with when it comes to firearms in Australia. I have a huge problem with governments changing our culture because of their ideology when they are no longer listening or serving the people, and they did not listen in WA during the consultation process at all. It was bogus, and that's one thing that the candidates I've spoken to, every candidate I've spoken to who I'll be interviewing when I'm in Perth, has pointed out that they think the consultation about these laws does not stack up. It is not democracy. You cannot have a government put out papers and say, what do you think about this? And then the next week, because it was a very short timeline for that consultation period, put out the same laws unchanged. That is not consultation. That is you dictating to the people what the laws will be because you've already written them. You want to pretend that you're listening, and you'll have meetings with people that you choose from organisations that don't represent the people either. They represent their own interests and protecting their own turf, and that's how it's going to be. That's not how it should be in Australia. We are losing our country before our very eyes, and I'm seeing this from a firearms perspective because I've been involved in this fight for such a long time. I'm seeing it, and now we're seeing it transferred into other issues. Free speech is a huge thing. They are not listening to the people. They actually want to shut us down from saying things. Political expression now, you can't express yourself. That is something that is in our constitution, that we do have a right to political freedom. Not anymore. This is something I'm so terrified about, the future of my country. And that's why I'm coming back to WA, because I want to be on the ground for this important election. I feel like it'll be, I know I've said that what I think the result will be, but the upper house. I keep banging on about the upper house, but that's where you can really have balance of power and have people on our side who see it from our side, who see that it's not good governance and that people are hurting and it's not helping the people and it's not what we want. I'm trying to do everything I can to make sure that whoever's elected in the upper house will align with advancing liberty